The Sanctuary Renovation team wants to share with you a brief history of the Sanctuary building so that you understand the design decisions that shaped the past, as well as our choices for the future. The Sanctuary building is a 10,000 square foot complex of structures that were put together like a giant Lego set over a period of 50 years. There are 5 pieces to our Lego house. The original building, completed in 1924, was a plain Jane 2-story affair with a chapel on the first floor and a mezzanine on the second floor from which you could look down to the first floor. The most interesting part of the building was the name, Tabernacle. The pious Swedish immigrants viewed themselves in exile, headed like the children of Israel to the Promised Land. That land was not Pasadena, but life with Jesus in heaven. Their building on Santa Barbara Street was a temporary way station for the journey. The second Lego piece was added in 1931. Young adults had assimilated into American culture faster than their elders. The youngsters wanted to speak and learn in English. To accommodate them, the men of the congregation hand-dug the basement under the tabernacle. That lower auditorium became the original home for the youth, and it stands as a historic symbol of the church's commitment to empowering the next generation. By the way, this fall we are in process of repairing the basement so that youth can return. Lego piece number 3 is a biggie. By the mid-1940s, the church had outgrown their small chapel. The Swedish congregation, which called itself Mission Covenant Church, had recently voted to make English their official language. They invited a Swedish architect, Anton Johnson, to design for them a new sanctuary. Rather than give them a quaint Swedish-looking structure, as he had done for communities in the San Joaquin Valley, he designed for them a Spanish Mission Revival-style building, with thick fortress-like walls, a watchtower, and light-filled stained glass windows depicting Jesus the Shepherd. It was as if Mr. Johnson was saying, "Plant your Swedish seeds of faith in the soil of your adopted homeland. Live into your Mission Covenant heritage, and seek the good of your new neighbors. As you journey as pilgrims to your eternal home in heaven, remember your King. He is your fortress who will protect you. He is your watchtower who is looking out for you. He is your light along the dark path. He is your shepherd who lays down his life in love for you." Lego piece number 4 was added in 1957. The 2-story addition featuring restrooms on the first floor and classrooms on the second were added to the northwest corner of the complex. At about the same time, a kitchen was added to the basement. The final Lego piece was actually a modification of the sanctuary rather than an addition. In 1972, the World War II generation was thinking about retirement. Meanwhile, the baby boomer generation was emerging ready to take over the world. They looked around at the sanctuary and said, "This place is way too crowded. We are packed in like Swedish sardines. We need more space to sit. Secondly, this place is way too hot. We need air conditioning. Finally, the window in the east wall is way too big and bright. The light washes out the video screen and we can't hear the preacher because of the traffic noise on Lake Avenue. Fix it." And so, as they had done before, the congregation made changes and invested in the next generation. Fixed seats were replaced with comfortable pews. The ceiling was lowered 4 feet to accommodate air conditioning ductwork, and sound walls were built in front of the stained glass windows to block light, heat, and sound. A most elegant solution if ever there was one. Fast forward to 2021. The baby boomer generation is quickly moving towards retirement. Younger generations have emerged in the life and leadership of the church. Our Lego set sanctuary complex has served us well for the past 50 years, but is showing its age. The Sanctuary Renovation team has identified 4 goals that we believe the community must address if we are to equip the next generation with the tools they will need to live out their calling on the corner of Lake and Santa Barbara streets. These include: Number 1. Repair or replace what is broken, worn out, or obsolete for the health and safety of the congregation and our guests. Number 2. Make technical changes in the lighting and sound systems so we can meet the communication challenges we face in trying to be an in-person and virtual community simultaneously. Number 3, help the community connect with God and one another by making aesthetic changes that will make the space visually more interesting and symbolically richer. Number 4, include artistic and informational displays that will help the community remember, honor, and learn from those who have gone before us. Aside from replacing the HVAC system and repairing the roof where needed, most of the renovation will take place on the first floor of the building. This includes the lobby, completed in spring 2020, sanctuary, gathering place, entryway, storage room, and choir room. We sought to honor the Mission Revival bones of the building in style and color palette. The result is a space more open and brighter. Updating the lighting and sound system will enable us to communicate with in-person and virtual audiences at the same time. We plan to replace the carpet with carpet squares and paint the room. The balcony railing is not to code and will need to be raised. We plan to replace the pews with chairs similar to this one. We believe chairs will increase the versatility of the room, allowing us to create a center aisle for weddings or music recitals. Being able to increase chair spacing during a future pandemic may also be prudent. Our 6-level sanctuary stage was designed for a time when we had church choirs every week. The new 2-level stage that is ADA compliant will serve current needs and give us flexibility for the future. We want to explore installing windows in the balcony and east wall. We plan to experiment by opening one of the 3 original stained glass windows in the balcony. We need to be able to manage light and street noise. If we can work out a plan, we will proceed by opening a second balcony window and then possibly the east wall. So, the plan is to experiment, work out the bugs if possible, and then determine a path forward after that. Our sanctuary has a significant echo that tends to muddy both voice communication and music. This makes the listening experience more strained. To improve sound quality in the room, we plan to add acoustic panels to the walls. We hope to find volunteers to help us build these simple structures of wood and fabric. This room on the west side of the building is the original chapel. It is now our principal seminar room on campus. Guest groups frequently rent it. In addition, the congregation has used the space for adult education classes, memorial services, and receptions. A challenge we face with the room is that there is no storage area, so the room always looks cluttered with stacked chairs and tables. We plan to create a doorway leading to an existing storage area on the other side of the wall. In addition, we will paint and replace carpet with vinyl plank flooring. We also plan to replace the frosted glass with clear so we can see the breezeway. French doors will match those in the sanctuary, enhancing the Mission Revival style. The noisy air conditioning unit will be replaced with a quiet and efficient mini split system. In this entryway, we plan to remove the popcorn ceiling, upgrade the lights, and paint the walls. The choir room has sustained significant damage to the ceiling and roof. That will be repaired. New paint and flooring will give the room a fresh look. Like the choir room, this space has experienced significant ceiling and roof damage. We also plan to install a small kitchenette along one wall. This will enable us to supply food and snacks in the gathering place when the event requires that service. The most expensive part of the renovation project will be to replace the ancient heating and cooling system. Many of the window box air conditioning units on the west side of the building are broken. The ductwork and furnace of the heating unit is filled with asbestos. The central system on the east side of the building is so old we can no longer purchase parts for it. We are working with the contractor this fall to develop system replacement plans. As we do our best to equip the next generation with a renovated sanctuary, there are always surprises. Parts of the building are 100 years old. Building codes change, and sometimes building inspectors have a bad day. So, we have built into the budget money to cover those potential surprises. More important than a renovated sanctuary is unity among the community and clarity of vision for what God is calling us to be and do. Both unity and clarity are gifts of God's Spirit, so pray with us that the Lord will bless His people who gather on the corner of Lake and Santa Barbara.